We're going live. We're going live. Hi, and welcome to the She is Black History Sister Chat. We are a little behind schedule. You know how it is. There's always technical difficulties when something great is about to happen, right, sisters? We are here. We are
No, it
Yes, we are finally here at the table to talk and share, uplift one another, share what we value about our past, what we're treasuring in the present, and inspiring our future. So let's get into it. Like, it's been a full and completely packed February. It always is. Black History Month. We had the Super Bowl, the Usher Bowl, where her made history, just completely riffing on the guitar during the halftime show. Just all in her artistic essence. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. And the most watched program in history. So that is a powerful way to start this discussion and to just highlight some of what has gone down in the month. And I just want to get into it. So let's introduce our panelists. We have Ayana here and Jenny Lynn. Let me let me get it right. Um,
Jenny Lynn.
Jenny Lynn, yes, here tonight, who's a visual artist, and we have Ayana, who is going to share with us about her community gardening and sustainability around addressing some of these health disparities that we go through as Black women, as women of color. We are more than a statistic. My philosophy is, and the reason why She is Black History was born is that I believe we are more than just a Black history fact. We are more than just a moment. I believe that collectively we are a movement, and women have been the backbone of that movement, going back to Harriet Tubman, right? To the Underground Railroad. So, there's so much to get into. So let's get started. Ayana, can you introduce yourself?
Good evening. Hi, everyone. I am Ayana Stringfield. And I just want to first take the time to say thank you, Tara, for inviting me to the table. Um, it's a it's a beautiful set table, I must say. And I'm looking forward to the discussion um, surrounding our topic of my topic today is of gardening. So I'm Ayana. I am a native New Yorker, currently living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I am a garden enthusiast. Never thought I would ever get to that point of horticulture, right? But it seems that I have stumbled into this lifestyle of watching things grow and seeing the reward and planting a seed and watching it grow and produce fruit, right? Produce food for us. So to sum it up, to sum who I am, I'm a person who just likes to encourage people in all positive areas. And as we go, you'll learn a little bit more about me. I'm little in words in description of more action in people who are in my circle or not even in my circle, people who come into my life, learn about who I am because action speaks louder than words. So in this next hour or so, um, my communication and my conversation will pretty much define who I am.
Thank you. I can go. Good evening, everyone. My name's Jenny Lynn. I am here in Easton, Pennsylvania. I am Dominican and Puerto Rican. And I also want to thank Tara for giving me this platform to really speak on African roots in the Caribbean and also speak on being an artist and how it's all connected and you know who I am. And I'm really excited to be here. And just like Ayana said, as we go through, we'll just share conversations and we'll get to know each other more.
Thank you. Thank you. And Sadia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Sadia. I am this amazing woman right here's daughter. You probably all see me on her Facebook and Instagram page. Um, a little bit about me. I am a dancer. I am in the performing arts, and I take my creativity and my choreography very seriously. Um, Once we go through this panel, you'll definitely learn about how I want to tie this artistic view and creativity into what I want to do in college with psychology and just breaking down in depth about how important the arts are to the Black community, just to every community, Latino, Italian, everybody. And I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to have you here and let's get into it. So I wanted to just ask you, Ayana, what inspired you to plant the seed for Beautiful Flower Enterprises?
Hmm. Well, it started when I moved to Philadelphia. I always had a love for plants. I've always had a love for um, seeing new sprouts pop up on a plant. My Saturday chores when I lived in New York City in the Bronx, my Saturday chores consisted of watering the plants. So I've always had, plants and things around where I resided. Moving to Philadelphia in 2019, I'm sorry, 2018, I moved to Philadelphia. But in 2019, the summer before the COVID pandemic, is when I started to to grow food. Um, to be honest with you, I don't know where it came from. I just went to one of the nurseries. I was looking for some plants, and I went to a nearby nursery, and I saw what was called starts. And starts are those plants that are already seeded, germinated, and took form and started the growth process for peppers. And I remember I picked up peppers, a tomato plant, um, and some herbs. It was cilantro, some parsley plants, right? And I took them at the time. I was living in an apartment, and so I planted them as you would a plant, right? And I tended to it, watered it, had it outside. I was on the bottom floor at that time when I first moved to Philly. I had an apartment and I had an outdoor space. So to see a tomato pop up and take shape just blew my mind. And I was addicted from that point on. Um, Beautiful Flower, my actual brand, my business started actually in 2018 with my juicing. So that's a whole separate um story. That's a whole separate entity. But as far as the gardening, and then I met up with some like-minded people over in North Philadelphia at the North Philly Peace Park. And that was the first community garden that I um, got affiliated with. And the rest
That's
is history.
history, right? That's amazing. I mean, it's I don't think we understand how much that's needed. The power that you feel when you can grow your own food, when you can be a part of the process of that food, um, taking hold and just planting that seed and the growth and watching the journey of that and, not having, the accessibility to fresh food in these desert areas that we've been talking about in Black and Brown communities. Just being able to take your power back with gardening and being a part of a movement of community gardening, and it also beautifying the community. It also gives it so much more tapestry. And it's just it brings us together for community capacity building. And when we can feed our families fresh food, it really is a healing process holistically for our Black and Brown communities. So
Definitely.
so I want to get into um, how Jenny Lynn, gosh, well,
Jenny Lynn.
Jenny Lynn has been working in the community, and her art is all on the south side of Bethlehem, soon to be in art galleries in New York City. She's we're
Manifested.
claiming it. So tell us
Yes.
about how you've been building community and engaging and relating in community around your visual art.
Absolutely. So together with my work, just being an educator and working with children, um, there's a thing that I saw on Instagram that an artist is the child that never grew up. So being able to, to continue to make art allows me to like always keep that sense of wonder. Um, and, just to be free to make, whatever, whatever I want. And I have some pieces here that I brought that I've been working on. I have this right here that I know Tara really enjoyed. So you can see that my art is kind of just playful and whimsical. And ever since I was young, I've always been making things. I was telling Tara and Sadia earlier that uh, when you come from an immigrant family, being an artist is the last thing like you're even supposed to be or do. Um, and then, the last 5 years doing my ancestry journey, come to find out it's always been in my DNA. And I've just been doing what I was supposed to do, which is just, share it with the community, share it with, you know, however I can, whether it's here in my work, whoever, that I'm with, um, to share it and to bring people um, together to talk about it, much like, Ayana with the gardening is something that brings people together.
Exactly. I mean, that's why we're together tonight, right? It was
Yep.
amazing to see how many people came together for your Black Excellence show on Friday night at Charter Arts High School. So tell us about the piece that you choreographed specifically for that moment and what it meant to you as far as Black history is concerned and your journey as a dancer, Sadia.
So Friday night for the Black Excellence Show, I had did a piece called Time Is to the song Time Is by Solange. Going into it, I didn't want it to just be a normal piece that I choreographed for other people or just my normal style of a lot of pop and lock and like having these sharp hits. I wanted it to be impactful in a different way. When I thought of the title of the song, time is, I thought of the time is now. Don't sit, don't wait, don't continue to struggle, don't continue to be in pain, don't continue to be silent. I thought of the time is now. So my big opening part was me taking my lunges forward with a strong posture and my head up high and just coming in with that powerful movement, not needing to build it up. I think that when it comes to art, there's no need to slow it down or speed it up or start a certain way. When you feel, you feel. And I think throughout the whole piece, I wanted to target and identify the struggle, but also the triumph that came with it. And just like getting to the truth of the matter, that there are ups and downs, there are problems that are resolved and unresolved. I think that it's very important that that's recognized. And as a Black dancer, it is very important to keep in mind that you have to have a certain posture, not necessarily fit in with everybody else. And everybody's beautiful in their own way, but keep your head up, because a lot of times I know I've walked into rooms and I felt very discouraged or I felt unsure about myself. And once I've got into what I love, I felt on top of the world. So I think that continuing to show that art, ensuring that there's confidence and tying everything together, like with Miss Jenny Lynn, the shapes and the dynamics and the way dancers can hold their bodies. And you can even turn that into a sculpture or a certain painting as well. And even with Miss Ayana's food garden, you can incorporate that healthy diet as a dancer and continuing to just understand that art is a full circle. There's not necessarily boxes or places that you can put them in. We all help each other bloom, if that makes sense.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Your journey inspires me. You're my daughter, and I can't tell you how much I'm inspired by how much you've grown and as a dancer, and that confidence you speak of and that posture, no matter what we do, no matter what our lanes are. You know, I'm in marketing and communications, right? And I'm graphic designing and taking and photography and all kinds of things and creating content. But all of those things are inspired by the confidence, just coming out bold, as you said, as you started that choreographed piece. I love that. I love that. And getting to the truth of the matter, right? I love that you spoke about how just walking in your truth is empowering. So speaking of that, um, the truth of the matter, Ayana, is that Black women are facing a war on their health. And I wanted to kind of get into how you feel about Beautiful Flower Enterprises and your mobile juice bar and all of these great things you have coming up. How do you feel like that can be a conduit to promoting health and wellness for Black women?
Well, the war on our health, that came to me some time ago when I realized we were in a desert, right? We were in a food desert. There's more unhealthy food than healthy food at our fingertips, right? Um, and whoever's listening, whether it be a male or a female, I know this is we're setting this, we're framing this around female, but everyone right now is being attacked through food. Now, I sit here, let me disclaim a few things. I sit here as everyone else. I don't sit here as to be some health guru, right? I don't sit here pointing the finger and saying, you should, because how many fingers are pointing back to me, right? So, my beautiful flower is a place where we all are going to grow together, right? We all face challenges. I face challenges every day when it comes, I'm a foodie. I love good food. And most of the times it's not the best choices. Listen, I'm in Southwest Philadelphia and it's a huge African population. And I gotta be like this to the foo. Look, no foo today. I can't have no foo today. Okay? Look, I got foo sitting here. I got foo sitting here. So, okay, so I want to make this clear. Beautiful flower um is a place where we're going to bloom together and we're going to journey together to the truth, right? So, I was blessed. I was fortunate enough to acquire a mobile juice trailer, right? Which will be out in these streets. Follow me on Instagram. All of my information will be in the links and things like that. But I think your question was how is Beautiful Flower relating to what was the question again, Tara? Just so I make sure that I hit your basic question.
Oh, no, I was just, I was addressing the war on health with Black women, and
Yes, 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 yes,
yeah, and I was wondering how you
yes.
envision yourself being a conduit to promoting Black women in their health and wellness.
Right. Even if I could touch, even if I can, share with just one person, my neighbors across the street or next door. Um, so the war on our health is very powerful, right? So me just being who I am, I can only do, my small little part if I can just at least touch one person, right? So um to have my juice truck out there in the neighborhood where it's surrounded by nothing but sugar and processed food is a blessing to if one even if it's just one person that came and got a fresh juice. You know what I mean? And speaking of juice, right here, look. Cheers. Listen, this may look like let me pour a little something for you right here. See? See, there used to be wine and stuff. Now I'm not gonna say that I'm never gonna drink wine again. I'm not gonna say that. But right now, this right here is pomegranate juice. See how we're coordinating? See? Yeah.
Yes,
Coordination.
I love the
Pomegranate,
purple. Yeah.
pomegranate, grape, and how you pronounce that? It's a citrus in there. And it's very good. No sugar added, right? No sugar added, and it tastes just as good in one beat. So I'm going to this is how beautiful flowers come into the neighborhood. We're changing the narrative. We don't have to be intoxicated. We don't have to be, drunk and our liver shriveling up and waking up the next day sluggish. Been there, done that. You know, you know, the food. And don't think that it's just alcohol, but food is the most addicting thing that we can put in our bodies.
Mm.
Food is,
Yes.
is very addictive. So the combination of good food and good juice is how a beautiful flower is coming into the neighborhoods. I'll be at festivals and things like that. So, and as I'm healing, I'll be healing other people.
Absolutely. It's a holistic experience, right? Our diet is much more than what we eat and what we ingest. It's, what we're reading. It's are the five closest people to us, are a reflection of where we're going. And so if you're positioning yourself to win, beautiful, and this mobile juice bar, um, and beautifying your community through gardening and aligning yourself with other
Right,
bloomers and people that
right.
are very,
Yeah.
very intentional about building community, being a part of community, and understanding who they are in their pure essence, which leads me to
Oh, and let me just follow, because let's, I don't want it to be so structured. Let me
no,
just insert something there also too, what you said about who we surround ourselves with as well. And you touched on exactly what I on my website, all of that'll be on there, but growing together, blooming together, right? And we have to be careful with not only what we eat, who we surround ourselves with, everything that we ingest, whether it be social media, because social media, whether you believe it or not, triggers our emotions, right?
Mhm.
And then we end up picking up bad food, wrong, food and things of that nature. But go ahead. We could talk about, we have some more stuff to talk about.
yeah. Um, um, I agree. I think that we together when I think this it's important to have these conversations. That's why we're here. And it's a part of us blooming together. It's a part of us, brainstorming and sharing our experiences and our background. And this is what I love about um, your story as well with your ancestry. We talked about how you going back and discovering who you are and your artistic genes and learning more about where you come from and just taking a journey backwards so that you can move forward. Can you share with us how that's impacted your journey as an artist, a visual artist?
Yes, absolutely. I started my ancestry journey about 5 years ago, and it started as simple as just asking, my mom, who, if she knows the names of her grandparents and her great grandparents, and asking my father as well. My mother's Dominican and my father's Puerto Rican. And I was raised, with my Dominican side. So even though Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico are like less than 50 miles apart, they have two completely different cultures. Um, and that has definitely, has impacted, my art and everything, because it started as simple as, well, can you name your grandparents? And then when I realized, I I kept getting, and I had to understand that maybe they didn't want to talk about certain things. I had to respect that, you know, um, some family members are ashamed of their poverty and they didn't want to talk about it. You might bring something up, but I never gave up on trying to find, where I came from. And, because Puerto Rico is US territory, um, the files and the records were kept differently. So it was more accessible for me to get all those documents, so much so that I ended up finding a slave record. My fifth great grandfather was born in Africa around 1829 and then brought to Puerto Rico to work the sugar plantations. Um, and slavery wasn't abolished until 1877. But again, everything that I'm saying is I had to find that after the fact. It's not nothing that school taught me. It's nothing that my family told me. It's because I went to find out like where I came from and how did they get here and what did that mean for me. And then I just started reading census records. I started pulling up World War II draft cards. Just, I was able to really trace down this lineage. And, like I said before, I've always been an artist, but I'm also self-taught. I didn't go to school for this. I come from an immigrant family, where an artist is the last thing you're told to be, that's great, but it's not something that that they're gonna really push you to pursue. I told you my first sketchbook is a composition notebook. And so when I found out that my grandmother is also an artist, my father's mother, and that my mom's brother is also a painter. I realized that this whole time I was just doing what I was supposed to do. I was just doing, what was in my DNA. I wasn't raised with these people. I wasn't raised really much with my Puerto Rican side or really much knew about them. I didn't know much about my mom's uncles, but um, I started asking these questions about 5 years ago. And then I kind of like came back with my mom and my father. I told them, "Do you know so and so? Do you know so and so?" And then they came at me like, "Well, how do you know that? Why don't you mind your business?" Like, like how'd you find that out? And it went from like, like in a good way, like we're so proud of you, but like, wow, like you went in so farther than anybody has ever gotten. So I feel really, really proud to be able to have to like, I don't know, kind of like share because it's not something that like I keep to myself. Like if any family member asks me, I tell everybody. It's not something because I encourage people to do the same, but also, you know, understand how you want to use that information, respect, when uh someone might not want to tell you where someone comes from, but I'm someone I couldn't help it. Like I needed to know. And you just feel a calling. And I just kept finding it and I just kept asking and connecting. Um, and then wondering, well, why are, the access of Puerto Rican records are so much accessible than Dominican records, and why is Dominican Republic so much different than Haiti, and why is Haiti so much different? Like, where all these Caribbean islands are connected, but there's a similar history of colonization and this systemic thing that got us all kind of against each other. But yeah, we could go into like all the history and all of that, but I'm just really just happy to be an artist and just to be doing what I'm supposed to, what's in my DNA and and just to share it with people.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. That your story is amazing to me because there's so many blind spots we have coming here, from our ancestors coming here from our native lands and native countries in Africa, and so much of our history has been lost and misinterpreted. And honestly, we've been miseducated. And just to have that re-education, to take ownership of telling your story and controlling the narrative and finding that record of your grandfather traced back to, mid-19th century in Africa. And, being able to tell that story, the untold stories, these untold powerful stories that don't come from a textbook, right? That wasn't taught in school, like you said. It really is about you going on a journey in self-discovery, where you could fully understand where your gift and your talent comes from and continue to build that legacy and continue to push that forward is amazing. Speaking of legacy, so this is my legacy. And it's such an amazing thing to watch it bloom, to watch this legacy bloom. And how would you say being connected, you know, in the arts, we both have a performing arts background, and we both have journeyed together. I remember your first dance recital. I remember your first performance. And so how would you say having that support system and understanding that legacy and taking your journeys that you've been on lately in New York City and all that good stuff. Tell us about what you've been doing in building legacy.
When it comes to my legacy, I've learned that, well, our legacy, when it comes to support system, having people in your corner and knowing that you're not doing everything alone and that there's people who will support you and lift you up through every and anything. Having a secure foundation is key to anything. And succeeding and walking in that legacy is something that is very important to me. And I definitely need to fulfill that dream and that legacy, not just for you or me, but for people who have fought to get there. And recently, I feel like I've definitely been stepping into that legacy and that excellence. I have been doing auditions. I just auditioned for Alvin Ailey's Summer Intensive 2024 in New York City. I just performed with the Bach Choir Bethlehem. I've been doing so many steps in the right direction, I feel like. And of course, it's all been brought to you by this woman right here. Just knowing and being secure that there is a legacy that you can carry on and that's in your very blood right now as we speak is very comforting, is very uplifting, it's powerful, and it makes you feel like you can command any room when you walk in. And from my mom's side of the family, there's a lot of artists, and of course, her herself, she went to performing arts school as well. And it's just good to see it on both sides of my family. My dad, his side of the family, there's a lot of dancers and performers. And speaking of what Miss Jenny Lynn said, I had just found that out about my family as well, that I have dancers on that side of the family who I never talked to or communicated with. And it's just really interesting to see how it passes down the
It's in the
bloodline.
DNA for sure.
Yes, yes. I was completely shocked because my dad had reached out to me, let me know that he had found his sister on Facebook and all her beautiful memories, and she's actually like a competition dancer. And she waltzes and she does all these different great things. And it's just so funny to me how I never met her before, but I feel so connected through that form of art and the legacy that was so close, but yet so far.
Yeah, yeah. It's mind blowing to me. It's mind blowing. We can get so deep into that. And um how when you step back and think about all the things that, come natural to you, and the things that you naturally embody, and like you're like, wow. And then when you connected with certain family members and you get to get even down to the style of dance, and the genre of dance, and how those artistic genes just come together to create such a beautiful legacy. I'm just happy to watch it bloom and watch it growing in you, and seeing how much you are you're coming into your own. You've grown a lot. You're learning. And let's get into that. Let's get into that. We've been talking about this miseducation around Black history, this unlearning to relearn. So Ayana, what would you say has been the most important thing you have had to unlearn and relearn in your journey? As an
That we can
entrepreneur,
that we can
as a
heal
community.
ourselves,
Yes.
that we can heal ourselves. We've been taught to rely on pharmaceuticals. Um, and I'm currently learning how herbs um the medicinal properties of herbs heal us. Even in our very front yard, this spring, you're going to start to see what we call weeds. Those weeds is actually medicine. But because they're not aesthetically pleasing, right? Because we want the perfect lawn. We got this, dandelion. We rip it up and
Mhm.
throw it away. But you could go into any supermarket and pay $3 for a bunch of dandelion, right?
Mhm.
So unlearning those things um is the journey, right? And also especially in the Christian faith, herbal medicine has been looked upon as a negative, right? Our ancestors prided themselves on healing, and not only healing, preventative. You wonder, how did our ancestors live so long, right?
Mhm.
How is it that they lived so long to in their hundreds, right? It's because they took those African ways of healing along with them, right? We the enslaved Africans, they treated their own problems, and it was called root work. When the enslaved when the enslaved Africans came to across the Atlantic to the Americas, they brought those traditions with them. Um, and a lot of it benefited their white captors, the masters, and then to the point where sometimes, but it was at one point they were using the medicine and they knew how to poison their masters. And then that's when it became the negative, right? It was like, oh, they put a root on me. You ever heard we heard that saying, right? Put a root on.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it was just but it was our way of healing. We knew how to take herbs, turn it into medicine, and heal ourselves. So the question, what am I trying to unlearn? I'm trying to unlearn that the pharmacy is the end of all. Is the answer to all. I'm not telling anybody to stop taking medication, but what I am saying is that we have to get out of that mindset that root work and healing and the things that our African ancestors used is not demonic.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so yeah, go ahead, jump in.
yeah, because we're Native American. There's Cherokee Indian on my mom's side of the family. And so I grew up seeing my great grandmother, first of all, gardening, growing her own food. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. We're from the South, so that's not foreign to us, having a garden in the backyard and picking your own tomatoes. But I did see my great grandmother had a beautiful garden, and it was a part of her culture to use herbs. Like she would I still use this today. Just a tea bag with lemon juice, turmeric, cinnamon, and honey, and it knocks any bug out that my children get. As soon as they get a cough or they get a tickle in their throat or they get a slight fever, I give
Yes.
them that tea and it's gone. no medicinals, no Western medicinals, pure herbs. All of
Yes.
those ingredients are from the earth. And this is what I
Tara.
love about your brand, Aya.
Yes.
It's that
Yeah, it was
the
it was
earth
to the
the
Mhm.
earth has our healing properties and power that we don't even tap into. We're so, it goes back to the marketing's, strategy and the ads we were talking about earlier and how it's targeted towards us to feel like the pharmaceuticals are the answer to our healing. And we have the power to heal ourselves. What are we
Absolutely.
growing in our backyards? What are we
Yeah, and
doing?
we were pulled away from that. Do
Mhm.
you know that they banned, it's because I had to take some notes because like I said, I'm in the learning process, right? This is like I said, this is about growing, each one teach one and share the information, right? I didn't know that they actually banned, it's actually not surprising because the big pharma, right, they don't really, of course they don't want us to know these things, that we could take herbs and heal ourselves, that all the pharmaceutical, the drugs is actually derived from those herbs. And they actually have banned in Virginia, they have banned African Americans, and people from using those those traditions. If you got caught using those traditional medicines and herbs, you were in trouble. Along this, that's like almost saying, that we couldn't read. They didn't want us to read. But yeah, so we just have a lot to unlearn, and we can't we can't look at what our ancestors did as as a negative. And a lot of things that we could go into, that our ancestors did to heal, um you know is frowned upon, unfortunately. And I think it's definitely programming.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I want to also add that when I was, well, I have asthma, but when I was little, it was really, really bad. And one of the things that actually stopped me from having attacks for years um, was a concoction. It was a syrup concoction that's very famous in DR, probably in the Caribbean, where um, it's honey, onion, radish, and like your grandma's love. And I didn't get sick for so long. And I remember, when you said, going back to why did our ancestors live so long, I mean, my mom told me that her grandmother lived to 116. And
Oh,
nobody probably would believe her, but because um for my mom's side, they're mountain people, so they just like stayed up there. But my mom told me, her grandparents lived to 116, her 80s, 90s. And then, it makes you think, well, what did they do? They were definitely taking these natural medicines free from any kinds of stuff, that were definitely helping them. And my grandmother, when she came to this country for the first time, I remember her like just saying, it tastes bad, but whatever, I'm not going to say no to my grandpa. So I'm like 9 years old crying, but the whole time I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So I just remember I just remember not getting sick, and
mhm.
that was just, health is wealth. And
Mm.
I just wanted to share that memory of like my grandma bringing me that kind of medicinal medicine, um, that really, really, who knows, saved my life.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
Indeed,
that's like,
indeed.
yeah, that's
Ye-
that's that's pivotal. I don't even know. like how to respond to that. Cause like life-saving medicine, right? When you think of that, you think of a hospital, you think of doctors. You think of what we've been, you know what I mean? What we've been programmed to believe is medicine, and medicinal practices that can save your life. Like when I think of my life being saved, you don't think of a concoction, an herbal concoction, right? You think of something like completely invasive and like medical intervention and gotta call emergency but it really is those things that we have access to that we can grow ourselves, that can save our lives, that is called preventative care, right? How are we preventing these diseases from even taking hold in our bodies to begin with? Right? Are we approaching our health and wellness from the powerful position that we can heal ourselves? We can heal, it starts with us, as you were saying in before, Ayana. And so, like, what do you feel about like your diet as it relates to you being an athlete, a dancer? Like how does that play into your journey of Black excellence?
So my school, we get Subway catered every day. So it's more of the quote unquote healthier option, compared to what the school lunches have, processed food, a lot of sodium and so many other things that I wouldn't be able to thrive with. So I think that my schools take on bringing in another company to produce good product better than what could be is a really great thing. My diet at home is very good as well. A lot of chicken, a lot of vegetables, a lot of starches, like a lot of balanced foods. And and it's also good just to learn to be comfortable at home. You don't have to always go out and adventure to find food. You don't always have to dig into that craving. If you have food at home, it's always good to just indulge in that and enjoy making what goes into your body. I feel like that's a very big key. I know that some days are very tired and long and exhausting, but I would rather go to sleep with a good, hefty, and fulfilling and good meal and feel comforted, and even just like the littlest things of like maybe like a soup or like just something where you don't feel like you have to go out and eat all these unnecessary things. And I've learned to train my body to do that, especially with dance and just learning what my body needs and paying attention and being aware of what is a need and what is a want when it comes to a diet. And even just like sometimes just snacking throughout the day is very good too. Not feeling like I need to feel full. And yeah, I think that's a very good thing to keep in mind. Diet is very key and crucial to the mental health, to producing good work, to just being in a good overall mental state.
Yeah. Speaking of mental health, like I know you've been talking about your interest in psychology and child psychology, and tell us about how you are going to, I guess, couple that with your major in dance.
So I love to work with children as well. I like to babysit. I work at Sweet and Sassy. So we're always around children, and I get a thrill, I get a joy of seeing the younger generation happy and having them enjoy that innocence and that pureness of not having to have that many worries in the world. And I want to preserve that and keep it pure by protecting their mental as they go through things. And I think that when it comes to guidance counseling and therapy, a lot of that is for mature and more developed minds. But I'm thinking as if children who cannot properly present themselves or pronounce themselves or talk as assertive and understand what they're feeling and be able to express it verbally, maybe being able to do it physically or through the art of coloring and pastels and painting and just even if it's just throwing paint on a canvas or creating a good meal and just seeing all these different flavors and herbs and fresh things come together, I feel as though children need that. Like they need a safe space where things can feel just okay. So I definitely want to incorporate art within therapy and child psychology, whether that be having my own clinic or having my own dance studio wrapped around the mental health topic. But it's very important for me, and of course, expanding probably into visual art and incorporating so many other different ideas so that children, teens, preteens don't feel so alone in this society, especially now, because a lot of people don't know what people are going through. And as a teen myself and having friends and being around the community of growing, developing adults such as ourselves, it's so important to protect the next generation. Absolutely. And prevent. Because we've seen this is the statistics, we've seen the depression, we've seen the anxiety, we've seen how it has grown over the years, especially in colored children, and a lot of trauma and a lot of uncertainty, not enough balance. So if having that come together place is possible, I definitely want to make that possible for people, not just where I am, but all around the world.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, speaking of the children in our future, I mean, they need that healthy outlet to be able to explore their emotions and not so much having that maturity, but being able to express themselves. Everyone can do that at every age, and I think the arts is an amazing way of um, exploring that avenue and addressing mental health. So I look forward to what you do in that lane. Speaking of the children in our future, Ayana, what's your vision for the future as far as Beautiful Flower Enterprises is concerned, your juice bar? Tell us what's up coming for you, what projects you have on board. Share what you're excited about right now.
Yes, so I'm excited about, oh gosh, okay. So I know that I'm in Philadelphia for a reason. I know that I'm here to to make a little impact, right? And I
Mhm.
know that the people that God put in my path is not by accident.
Mm.
So meeting representatives who have the power to implement. Right now, we have a new Black female mayor um, who was just inaugurated this January. She's looking to make a lot of changes in Philadelphia. Philadelphia right now is hurting. Um, we're hurting in more ways than one, right? And one thing affects the other, whether it be um, clean streets when you walk out of your home and you walking into a clean environment, whether it be being able to have access to clean food, um, it all plays a part. So my part and what I'm excited about is having free classes, gardening classes. I'm looking forward to having community gardens. We have so many empty lots here. Um, I have met with and been on some Zoom calls with some people who have access to empty lots, um, and developing those to just have just basic gardening one-on-one classes. This spring, matter of fact, I have some classes coming up. A year and a half, the summer before last, I was doing gardening classes, showing a few people how easy it is to start your own garden, even in your own home, even if you live in the middle of the city with no outside space, you can still have a garden, even if it's on your windowsill. So I am looking forward to starting those classes up. On my website, there's a sign up starting March, I believe it's the 4th. I'm not sure, whatever that Saturday, the first Saturday in March, I have an online class that I'm starting just to get people encouraged to, plant a seed, get your hands dirty. Everyone can do it. It doesn't take a big outdoor space. The misconception is that you need a whole bunch of land to have a garden, and that's not the case. Like even with this, you can, even if you don't even have an outdoor space, you can use, this is called an arrow garden. It's a little raunchy now. I gotta brush it off. But, you know, this is like 6 little slots, and you put your seed in, and you plug it in, and it's light, and you can start growing your herbs and things of that nature. So I'm going to be talking about that in the class. Um, and again, the Bloom Mobile, I like to call her, will be
I
out
love
and
that.
about in the
Yes.
in the streets. So yeah, so my dog. He's a little dorky. He thinks he's tough. Let me let him out. Right.
Yeah. Introduce your dog. Bring him in.
No, he's so tough. He's only 7 pounds and he thinks he's a pit bull.
Oh, wow.
Um, but
So
yeah, I'm
Jenny
looking
Lynn,
forward to those things and in the near future.
well, that is so exciting. I can't wait to check out your classes, what kind of curriculum you pull together, and how you get people involved in the community and even the youth, you know. I think that's something I think we all have in common here. We have a passion for our younger generation, and it's just amazing to see how we can come together to help them reach their full potential. That's a part of the reason why I have my co-moderator here. La 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 la. That's why Sadia had to be a part, because I was like, this is more than just um, a moment, like I said, a fact. It's more than just Black History Month. This is Black history all day, every day, 365. And there is no greater feeling and fulfillment than to pour into our young Black and Brown youth. And speaking of that, Jenny Lynn, I keep getting it wrong. I just want to say Jenny Lynn. Why? Jenny Lynn.
Jenny Lynn.
Jenny Lynn. We got it.
Hey,
Okay. Let us know
Jen,
what you got
Jen,
going
Jen,
on.
Nayland.
Tell me what's going on in the community, where your artwork can be found, who you're collaborating with,
Yes.
um,
Um,
who you're building with, who you're inspired by. Just give us the scoop
yes.
on your plans.
Well, yeah, so my inspiration, some artists that inspire me, I was telling you all earlier, John Michel Basquiat is a huge inspiration to me. Uh, he's Haitian and Puerto Rican. And he just, I think a lot of people think that when it comes to creating art, that you need all these expensive materials and all of that, and it's not true. And he used the streets of New York. It was just him and his spray can, and he despite, even though his I forgot which one of his parents was more well off. He didn't want to, subscribe to that lifestyle. So he's just his life and just the way that he just chose to make art his own way was just a huge inspiration to me. Um, and of course, I got a chance to read her autobiography, but and I really, really, really like Nina Simone. I really like her. I read her autobiography and just I just the life of the artists that inspire me is because they did what they wanted to do anyway, even if they didn't fit in. Um, Jean-Michel fit in into various crowds. He had a really, different group of friends, even dated Madonna at one point. But, he just lived the life he wanted. And Nina Simone, she actually was trained to play classical music, but she went and she did jazz. And I think her real name is Eunice Wayman, and she put her name is Nina Simone because she didn't want her mom to find out that she was playing in clubs.
Mm.
So I just like these, like Nina Simone doesn't paint, but she's still an artist. And I'm so inspired by these Black artists that they just did whatever they wanted to do, um for the just because their art, they just wanted to show their art at all costs. um Whether it was changing their name or not subscribe, just letting go of, like, separating themselves from family, um just doing whatever they had to do to get their message out was just really inspiring to me. And I'll show you something. I put it up on Instagram today, but I'm like, one of the things that Basquiat does is like he's not afraid of like scribbling. So like, or like using, just like I said, like the artist is the kid who never grew up. So like just not being afraid to just take a crayon and just do that. So this is one that I think that like kind of like you can see where his style inspires me.
Mm.
He's also from New York. Um, but yeah, and one of the advice that I would give, to uh young artists, and I guess, young people in Sadia's age group is, to just don't compare yourself to people. It's a huge killer of creativity to compare yourself, because one of the things that, being self-taught and not being able, you know, even if, I couldn't really afford to go to college, so I could afford to go to art school and all of that and have somebody teach me and any of that. But um, it's about just doing what you feel, like you said, you just have a calling, just feeling like you just need to do this. I didn't study anatomy, but I'll make you a portrait. I'll draw, but I'm gonna do it in my own style. And I think that um, just don't compare yourself to other artists, other dancers, other gardeners. You have your own way of doing things that either way is going to lead to success, but it's just a different way of doing things that, that's going to really help your community and be, include your community. But, I think that one of the things that I wish I would have been told or encouraged earlier was to not compare myself to other people, um, and try to be like them, because it's not, it's disingenuous. So I just know, and then, maybe Sadia, maybe this, when just the moment straight when you feel like I just need to do this. I just I don't know why, I just need to dance. I just
Yes.
need to do this pose, or I don't know why, like I feel like I don't know why, like I don't know why I feel the need to create. I just do. Or like I don't know why I feel the need to touch this soil, touch this soil or dance or take this color pencil, but I just do. And I think that, being in this conversation is one of the things that this common thing is that we're just doing what's in our DNA, and we're connecting really with our ancestors and with history, just to do what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be artists, gardeners, painters, just coming together really, and just sharing. I mean, even though I'm all the way to Easton, like I'm just like I would love to. I'm gonna get on Zoom and I'm gonna take a you know a gardening class, because you really have me thinking about, like, being more health conscious. Not, you didn't shame me, but you had me thinking about, like, wow, I really, I remember when I cooked my own food and when I have fresh food, and how good did that taste? Or wow, like, why am I walking all the way towards the back of the store from some water? And things that we've all gone through. So I think that we're just, coming together and doing what we're supposed to, artists, dancers, gardeners, and, just sharing it.
Yeah, and storytelling, that's what I spend most of my day doing. This is the passion that I have that birthed this whole platform. She is Black History, is telling the woman's story, and how powerful and how often untold those stories are. And our stories are just as important as an Amanda Gorman story, or Michelle Obama's story, or Misty Copeland's story. It's important. I spend day in and day out telling stories about youth and their journeys and mentorship. I feel it's so important that we're mentored, that we're sitting at the feet of other people. I feel like this moment was a mentorship moment. Like now I want to start a community garden here in Lehigh Valley. Now I want to learn. I've always wanted to have a green thumb. When I look back at my great grandmother and my grandmother, and how, it just see how they, turn the soil over. I just, even as a little kid, I can still remember that, and remember how, powerful it feels, just to have earth in between your fingers, and to, plant that seed and to watch it grow, and to see the reflection of that in ourselves. We are ever evolving, we're growing, we're blooming, right? Blossoming, and in our own lanes. And so it's amazing to just watch that journey unfold, and to be here to give you guys a platform to share your story. And I just want to do one final roundabout. Who in Black history motivated you, inspired you, and you felt empowered by that? It was just undeniable that you had to take this journey and set out on your path that you're on presently. I'll start with you, Sadia.
Okay. I have a couple of people who I definitely look up to when it comes to the performing arts and my dance perspective. Definitely Debbie Allen, because me and her share a similar body type, and hearing her story about how she was told how she'll never be a good enough dancer because of her build, and how she carried herself, and that never disturbed her from her passion and what she knew she could do in this world. And she ultimately changed the game and let people know that, hey, I'm here. I am who I am. I can still show up and show out, no matter if I am a ballet technical dancer or I am a modern technique dancer. I can do both and still be confident in how I look. And Alvin Ailey definitely inspired me as well, because when I look at his work pieces on Instagram or on YouTube, Facebook, all over, that's why I wanted to definitely go audition for their summer intensive. When I look at their work, it reminds me a lot of myself. And again, coming back to, you never know, you're not really like related to anything, but you just feel it. Back to what Jenny Lynn said about how you feel like you just need to do it. Like I feel like I needed to do that audition. I needed to make that next step. I needed to believe in my capability and finally walk in that Black excellence and not be held captive by, oh yeah, I'm great at this one style, so I'm gonna stay here. I wanted to definitely branch out and do a whole bunch of other different things and show that you can do so much more than just one thing. One thing can turn into another, and it can be a beautiful cycle that you never expected. And I'm honestly honored that I get to be part of Charter Arts high school dance major program and just have all these opportunities right at my feet. I just did a master class with the New York Dance Project at my school, and it was very different for me from what we do on a daily basis. And it was a challenge, but it was a beautiful experience. And I think that life is about experience. And you learn more and you do better and you do more when you walk in that experience and take that leap of faith.
Ayana, what about you? What inspires you to um take on these controversial issues? I know whoever your choice is a controversial Black history figure. But who inspires you the most?
Well, Joan Teresa Stringfield.
Mm,
Joan Teresa Stringfield, who is my mama, my late mama, who I miss dearly. I stand on her shoulders,
mm,
and I hope I make her proud because this woman, as sweet as she could be, was still stern in her belief. Um, she did not like injustice. It bothered her. She worked in the community in the Bronx, New York, alongside of the late Asada Shakur, who is Tupac's mom.
Mm.
Rest in peace. Um, so growing up in that household around um those strong that strong woman in her circle, going with her to which was then Lincoln Hospital, which was on in the Bronx alongside of the Bronx River Parkway. That was the old Lincoln. And going with her, seeing her work in a community when our community was ravaged with the heroin epidemic. And a lot of our brothers and sisters were falling victim to um, to that deadly devil of a drug, and watching her work outside of her work hours, um, detoxing the community
mm,
again alongside and we just lost our king Matulu Shakur, who was the acupuncturist, and they would do acupuncture and things of that nature, and me and Tupac at the time would be running around, and this was before they moved and things of that nature. And this is not, I don't name drop, a lot of people don't know this history, my history, my family history in that area. Only close people know. So my mama is my influence. Um, seeing her in the community, and then when we moved to Pennsylvania, my mom, she was a registered nurse. Okay, she knew she wanted to be a nurse when she was yay high. And with that passion, because a lot of people are in the nursing in the medical field just for a check. You have to have the empathy, you have to have that passion to want to help people. So it's not by accident that her vocation and her passion for helping the community went hand in hand. um so when we moved to Pennsylvania, I mean, if I didn't catch that woman by 9 o'clock a.m., she was out in the streets doing, she didn't just warm the pews of the church. She was out there in the
Mhm.
community touching people. We have a lot of people in church that they're just comfortable with getting fed. But my mother was actually feeding, literally, soup kitchen, out there evangelizing, family promise at her funeral. My goodness. So I would, I thought about it and I was like, there's so many of our sisters and brothers that we can name, right? That we can take away from, their journey and the breadcrumbs they left behind for us to follow, right? There's so many to name. But if I could name now, and just on a lighter note, Diana Ross was my hero. I love Diana Ross.
Gotta love Diana.
Di- Diana Ross was a black woman with all this hair,
Yes.
and she
Glamorous.
was she was the black beauty, right? That I looked up to and was in awe. I had a Fisher Price. My parents, they brought me a little Fisher Price record player, right? And look, Sadia, I don't know. Do you know what a record player is?
Yes.
With the need, put the needle on the record.
Yes, the
Yeah,
vinyl.
yeah, the vinyl.
Okay. Well, they got me a little Fisher Price record player, and honey, I wore that record out. They bought me in a Diana Ross album. I wore that record out. So I just saw her as just a beautiful black woman who could sing, and she was like one of the first to cross over from one genre of art to another, and went into acting.
Mhm.
Remember Lady Sings the Blues and stuff? So now we see that so much now with our rappers, and they start off doing one thing and then they jump, are able to jump over into something else, and that's just who we are. We're just
Resilient.
multi-talented, you
Yes.
know, and what Jenny Lynn said about, I just want to piggyback off that. I'm not going to take too much time, but what she said about, walking in, I think you said something, I think what she was leading to was walking in our purpose. So even if there's so many different, people doing the same thing, what you bring is yours. Because I was a little intimidated once. I'm like, I mean, my juice, because I do have the juices and stuff like that I'll be bringing out to the people, and I'm like, well, so many people out here with juice, you know, but it's mine. It's my recipe. God gave that to me. My garden may not look as immaculate as everyone else's, but it's my garden, and whoever is attracted to that is who I would who's supposed to be in my with me, I will attract. You know what I mean? So just to piggyback on what sister said, don't ever feel intimidated about what somebody else is doing. And we have so much of that going on social media, and everybody's looking and scrolling. We're so busy scrolling and looking at what everybody else is doing, we're leaving our purpose on the shelf.
Absolutely. That's why
you
it's
know
been
so
it's been really important, and Sadia knows, like, even I don't care if we're streaming live, there could be 1,000 viewers, there could be 20 viewers, and I'm still committed and intentional about what God has planted in my DNA, in our DNA, in our genetic pool. Like what is designed for you, what is purposed for you, what is in the divine alignment and plan for your life cannot be pushed aside. Time is over for putting everyone else above yourself and above your dreams and above your purpose and looking
Period.
at this period,
Period.
period. Time is over for that. It's about what you have been called to do and how the divine alignment and synergistic, purpose in your life will show up. It's already done. It's about you getting in line with it, sis. It's about you getting in line with it. It's already done. It's already imprinted in your DNA. It's once it's discovered, you just hit the ground running in that direction and no other. Don't look left, right. Don't look at anybody. I don't even look at other people's social media pages. I don't follow other people and what they're doing because I have to block out the noise so that I can be clear and focused about what I did here tonight with you beautiful sisters. I just wanted to end and say thank you so much for joining the She Is Black History
Thank you.
Live Sister Chat. Thank you for telling your story. Thank you for being open, vulnerable, engaging, and just giving us a tidbit into your vision and your goals and how we can be a part of it. I'll be promoting, sharing your social profiles, your handles, all that, your website. I'm so excited about what's going on with Beautiful Flower Enterprises. Sadia is soon will be starting some entrepreneurial
Yes.
venture, hopefully.
Yeah, show us where we can see your
Yes.
performances.
Yes, I'll be
Yes, I
following
would
up with
love
all the
to.
links, and inviting you guys to be a part of the
Please.
journey and this storytelling capacity building will continue to grow. I look forward to having more guests next year, and having more discussions and more live chats like this throughout the year. So we're excited for what's happening with Lux Lotus Life. And once again, we just thank you for your time and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to say, just thank you for the table. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the courage to allow such a forum, and hopefully, yeah, we could do this again. I'll be more than willing to share more.
Same,
And it
same.
was nice to meet you, Jenny Lynn.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
nice to meet you, Jenny
Yeah,
Lynn. I can't wait to meet in
thank you.
person and can't wait to see
Nice
you
to
again
meet you,
soon.
Sadia.
Ayana, we can't wait to see you guys.
Can't wait to see you.
Love you.
Love you.
Have a good
Love
night.
you. Good
Bye.
night, everyone.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye.